Hello and welcome back, everyone, as we're preparing for game number 3 for the Spotify Internal League of Legends tournament. Once again, I'm Steve Kangas, joined by Zirene, and welcome everyone back to the show. We were let known that during the break, y'all had some questions for us, and also wanted to hype up how fun the show has been. Thank you so much for the words of encouragement. Even though we can't see chat directly, it's great to know that everyone is enjoying the show. But Zirene, it seems like people are a little curious what you've been up to lately. So how's COVID been treating you? How's the lockdown been? Catch us up on the life of Zirene.
Oh, all right. So, what I've been doing is I've been working for Pro Guides. I've been doing independent shoutcasting stuff, much like this. In terms of COVID stuff, my roommate is Captain Flowers, who just got done with Worlds. So we're probably gonna drink a lot, chill on the couch, and watch the rest of Cobra Kai sometime this week. So, have you watched Cobra Kai?
I haven't seen any of it, but I know that a lot of people are into it. Is it good?
It's really well written. It is really well written. It is the Karate Kid from the perspective of the guy who lost, not the guy who won, perspective of the guy who lost, and it's the exact same actors. So it's them
Interesting.
years later.
Okay, cool.
It's
See,
really good.
this might be outing myself a little bit, but I was never the biggest Karate Kid fan. Like
Me
I
neither.
liked it
Me
as a
neither.
kid.
Me neither.
Really?
I watched it like maybe two times tops. Yeah.
Okay, my biggest association with Karate Kid is How I Met Your Mother and how obsessed Barty is with the
Ah.
character. So from that perspective, the show interests me, but we'll have to see. Maybe I'll join you on Discord or something for that. But yeah, I
All
know
right.
Captain Flowers just finished his last Worlds cast, so I'm surprised we didn't hear him in the background at all. Yeah, for anybody wondering, Worlds is going on right now too. So after this, after the Spotify tournament, if you want to go check out some of the VODs over there, a reminder to everybody, every world champion starts somewhere. So who knows? At this tournament, we might see some up and coming, budding North American talent that can help us out next year in the tournament. But good to hear what you've been up to, Zyrene.
Yeah. What about
And
you? I know you've been
oh,
just
myself.
grinding, working out all the time.
Working on my fitness. It's hard during COVID to stay motivated for all that, but yeah, I got my home gym set up. Also working at Pro Guides. I started there 2 months ago, so me and Zyrene are technically coworkers nowadays. So that's fun to
Yeah.
see.
I haven't been
Hopefully,
able to
once.
work with you though because I'm on complete lockdown. Just because
Mhm.
you know, for COVID's really scary for me in particular, pre-existing health conditions and whatnot. So I'm
Mhm.
I've been like, told to just not really interact with anybody. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but we appreciate the work that you do remotely because you can still get all of your work in and on time. So appreciate you, Zyrene. Um,
no.
let's bring our attention. No, we don't want to talk about me. No one is interested in the Kangas story. So let's talk about the stories of these players coming up here. Game number 3 in the tournament. Again, to catch everybody up, we're staying head to head with wins and losses as much as we
Yes.
can throughout the whole day. So this is actually going to be two undefeated teams, both of them 2-0 going into this third match. And just taking a look at the lobby so far, we're seeing some higher ranks. We're creeping up there, Zyrene. We're seeing some plat players. We're seeing some gold players in this one. So with that increase of rank, what kind of change in gameplay do we expect to see accompanying that?
You expect to see a bit more coordination between the members, but the thing is I don't think it matters how high the highest person is, but it matters how low the lowest person is, because a team usually preys on weakness, and if somebody is really really good, if the rest of the team just isn't going to give up any kills or anything, it doesn't really matter how good they are. But if they have somebody who isn't as familiar with that high level of play, and they keep giving up kills that are like pretty easy, I would say that's where the problems really lie. It does suck, but it's kind of how things go in terms of League of Legends. You just got to pick on the weakest person. So we do have plat players and stuff like that and gold players, but it's kind of whoever's the newest is probably going to be the biggest detriment, unfortunately.
Especially because it's those plat and gold players that will be looking at those newer players and
Hmm.
targeting them, saying, okay, you're just free gold for me, so I'm going to keep
Yep.
farming you instead of the minions. But let's not tease the viewers anymore. Let's actually take a look at the teams themselves. We got Wicked Shades up first, so taking a peek at their roster on the screen right now. We got Pancake in the top lane, Cave New with Tim Han, Minorin or Menorin, I believe, and ALR 42. I think I'll just call him ALR throughout the show. But if you notice, a whole lot more engineers, Irene. I'm noticing a trend.
Yeah. You said it at the start, but I mean, it might be a company that just has a lot of engineers.
True.
This might be a lot of
I would
engineers in
imagine
general.
Spotify has many.
Hmm. You would think, you would hope.
That's why the product's so good. Now let's take a look at the other team. A team name that I think we can all agree probably the easiest to pronounce in the whole tournament. So I'm going to give it my absolute best. Jimmy Hamigadefetten. I don't know what we're gonna abbreviate
Nailed
that
it.
as. I think Hammy G. I like the name Hammy G. It's just kind of in the middle there, easy to pick out. But
Okay.
walk us through this roster, Zirene.
Yeah, we have as the first person you see on the screen. Peregrine as the second. I have MH, and then Smyrnus, and then Pocket Cookies, which is my personal favorite name.
Pocket cookies. It's easy to pronounce, and also it's like in a pinch. If you're ever at an awkward party and you don't know how to continue the conversation going with the attractive person you're talking to, never hurts to have a pocket cookie. It's a great conversation starter. Maybe they're really into cookies. I don't see that
Just
going
a,
wrong in any way.
yeah, just reach into your, as long as it's still in a packaging or something, it could be nice. But if you
That's
just
not
pull
even
out a
necessary. A
cookie
little
from
bit
your,
of pocket lint is actually some
just
seasoning on top.
that's what makes it a pocket cookie is
Pocket
the lint.
cookie? Yeah, exactly. But we are ready to go into pick and pan for game number 3. We'll get this stream back on the rails here shortly. As again, blind pick. All the teams can pick whatever they feel like in the moment, which will most likely mean comfort. And last game, we did actually see a mirror matchup in the bot lane with the Caitlyn matchup. So we'll see if there's any going on here with this game number 3 as well. But so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. It seems like pretty standard team compositions across the board.
Yeah, I like this. We're seeing more and more standard as we go further in the tournament, at least on that left side. Interesting thing to me is that they are going with a long range composition here with the Ezreal, the Sona, the Vel'Koz, and then the Graves being a ranged jungler. But then Mordekaiser is the one that's just like he's just trying to win whatever top lane matchup he has. So I like this counter here that they're blind picking, so they don't know what the other team is picking. But you can see that there's a Malphite locked in, a Leona locked in. So 2 hard engaged champions, 3 engaged champions. If they go with the Ashe, it's a 4th one. So they can just go after all those ranged champions. The Vel'Koz, he's going to regret picking Vel'Koz into this team. And it is pure luck because it is blind pick here.
But the one thing the Vel'Koz will bring is range in the laning phase. Vel'Koz is a champion. It's not a very popular one, so if you don't know what he does, I'm not going to blame you. But the champion just throws out a lot of long-range spells that do a decent amount of damage. The more spells he hits, the more he stacks up his passive, which means that he's going to do even more damage with subsequent abilities. So we're looking at this Vel'Koz to play from range, play really far back, but the point Zirene's getting at is, while yes, the range advantage exists in lane, the Malphite and the Leona are 2 beefy tanks. They're just going to jump on top of you. And even with all that range, Malphite just presses that R ability, and then a giant mountainous rock is flying at your face. So good luck to the Vel'Koz player. I feel like I'm going to be shouting out that I don't even know how to say that name. I'll have to come up with something because probably will be dying a lot during this game, especially when you layer on top of that the Nocturne and, like you said, the Ashe. But when I look at the lanes themselves, I do slightly favor this side for Hammy G, just because the Mordekaiser is an AP dealer. Malphite usually in the top lane wants to build armor, so you have a nice matchup there. The Vel'Koz again outranges the Cassiopeia, and then you have all this poke in the bot lane against that Leona, who, unless she can get on top of you, will be just poked out very quickly. So it'll come down to grouping and actually layering the CC, finding the engage options for Wicked Shades to find how their team composition will be able to win this game.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm looking at here is just compositions against each other. Like the poke versus the hard engage, and then the top lane, like you said, the Mordekaiser into the Malphite. So they each have something good going for them, clear win conditions. Because if you lock down that Malphite and stop him from ulting your team, then you have a really good way to kind of disengage and poke back. If you can get rid of the front line in 1v1, because the thing that will happen is the Mordekaiser will take the Malphite. This is going to be a little more advanced. Take the Malphite, and once the team engages, Nocturne, etc., if you take the Malphite, stop him from engaging on your team, you kill him. When you come out of the death zone, the Mordekaiser ultimate, you will then be behind the enemy team that engaged onto yours. So you'll be able to flank the team because they ran into your pokers. And if they didn't run into your pokers, then they're going to get poked down while they wait for you.
A lot of nuance in how this matchup
Yeah.
can play out and how the team fights can play out. So we'll have some more opportunities to dig into the intricacies of what those 5v5s may be once we get into the game itself. With that being said, we're going to send it over to a short delay so we can make sure we're all synced up and ready to go for this game number 3 for Wicked Shades versus Hammy G. You're not going to want to miss it, so don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back, everyone, as we are now ready for game number 3 for the Spotify Internal League of Legends tournament. That's right, we're already into the 3rd round, and we got 2 undefeated teams about to face off with Wicked Shades going off against what I'm calling Hammy G. I'm asking for the producer to check in and see if there's any code meaning for that name or any internal naming systems that Spotify has. Any hint that we have for why the team is named J1131, as you can see based on their little club tags by their names. But either way, we're not seeing any early invades here, Zirene. We just got a standard 5-point start. That's what we call it when all teams just line up and test to see if anyone's invading on themselves, but they're not, and instead we're just going to see a passive early game.
Yep, and if we could also get explanation of the Vel'Koz's name, because that's going to be...
I feel like that one might have just been, you know what, they tried one name, it was taken. They tried a second name, it was taken. They got just too frustrated, just got slapping the keyboard. That's what that one looks like to me.
Yeah, and now kind of going off the theme of I like to look at stuff level 1, look at what items are there. Everybody has standard items and summoner spells. So I don't see anything out of the ordinary here for anybody in terms of their setup. So I think we're in for a game that's going to be a bit more competitive and potentially closer than the previous 2 that we've seen on stream.
Yeah, the last 2 games, we saw that there were clearly some players that were leading their charge for their team, really trying to pick up the carry potential with the champions that they had drafted for themselves, and having to pick up for other players that maybe were newer to the game. They didn't quite have a handle on how to play into their specific matchup or when to group up with the team, things like that. But you're right, this time around, we're seeing some pretty high elo players in this game. We're looking at these gold and plat players in particular to be big carries for their teams, but even the other ones we're expecting to step up a little bit more here based on how this early game is going. So in a more standard game of League of Legends, this gives us it gives us more opportunity to actually digest what's happening and come up with what plans the players might be thinking for themselves. So in that vein, Zirene, in your expert big brain League of Legends experience, what should we expect from the early game in this game based on different matchups and the jungle in particular?
So you should expect that ALR 42 is going to be hard farming. He's going to be trying to get to level 6 because this champion relies on the ultimate a lot for killing. And then on the opposite side, Smyrnus on the Graves. That champion kind of wants to be in your face pretty early on once he has the red buff. But he started on that side, so I think it's going to be him trying to look for early ganks. So he might kind of get towards the Scuttle Crab on the top side, and he's going to try to maybe relieve some pressure top lane in a bit.
Well, we'll have to track and see where exactly the junglers decide to go, because it actually looks like Smyrnus, he popped into the Rift Herald pit. I thought maybe he was going to jump over the wall and look for a cheeky little gank from that side, but instead just says, I want the Scuttle Crab instead. And you're right, ALR 42 on that farming mission. I like this from the Nocturne, actually going for what we call a jungle, counter jungle, where you go for one of the enemy junglers' camps, but Pancake needs to be careful right now because is in danger with that Graves hanging around.
Yeah, and you can actually tell that the Vel'Koz seems like a decent player because he's playing to the right side of his lane when his jungler's on the left. So he's kind of baiting that Cassiopeia to be towards the Graves, and he's going to engage now.
Yeah, there we go. And the damage follow-up from the Vel'Koz. They get heal out of Pancake. Still has flash available, and this Cassiopeia player actually playing that pretty well, holding that flash at the last second as ALR 42 now tries to force a gank on the bottom half, but not able to find it.
Yep, had the movement speed from the heal and also landed a Q. He did get hit and slowed by the Vel'Koz Q while he was blinded, but it was something that he was able to walk away from, so I like that. And look at this ALR, he's going to go for the invade, knows that he's here, even though Smyrnus is a higher level, he's not going to be able to take him out there.
Smyrna's had already taken a little bit of damage there, I believe, from the camps,
Yeah.
but now ALR 42 could be in some trouble. Instead, just hard commits onto the Graves, flashes forward, trying to follow up, should claim it, and there we go. First blood for ALR 42. Not what you expect from a Nocturne into the Graves matchup, but can the player get out? Sona and Ezreal are roaming up from the bottom half of the map, but yeah, you're out. ALR 42, congratulations. You netted yourself first blood.
Yeah, that was actually a really awkward situation to be in. Okay, yeah. I was like ALR. He was able to invade, and Smyrnus flashed away when the tether was on him, broke the tether, and then walked back. I think he expected the Vel'Koz to do more damage, but Vel'Koz was out of mana. Vel'Koz had nothing left. So it looked like Smyrnus wasn't paying attention to the mana bar, more the HP bar. But top lane, big brawl here. No more mana left. So Peregrine wins that one if he stays. But ALR was on his way, so he would have died in return.
Peregrine versus Retugard. Sounds like matchup in Lord of the Rings that we missed out on during the extended edition, but needless to say, Retugard, with that mana slowly coming back here, can now begin to look and walk up here, because the way Mordekaiser works, you hinted at this champion earlier on. But okay, yep, there we go. Level 6 hit by Retugard, just ults in, tries to delete Peregrine, but doesn't have the mana to actually get a full rotation out. So just the flash used, but now Smyrna's in the mid lane looking for Pancake. There we go, flash used by the Cassiopeia. That's what they were holding it for earlier on. Might be able to survive this one. Takes a lot of damage under turret. Smyrna's! Ooh, actually, just the execute, as Pancake was not able to land any damage on Graves.
Still a bit of a tilter there in terms of trying to get the damage done and doesn't get anything for it. So, yeah, you can tell that Smyrnus is kind of overplaying. It's either that or he's used to champions that have more CC. I see this a lot with good players who play Graves, who are usually playing the normal junglers that have CC. And ALR, ooh,
the junglers having some rough time at it right now. The engage comes in from Menarine, but there's no follow-up from the rest of the team. Flash forward by I have MH, but they don't actually find anything more for that. Kavenu and his support Menarine have successfully disengaged from that, so Dragon not secured. This is a close one, Zirene. We're not seeing a huge advantage going either way so far.
Yep, as honestly, the fact that ALR gets out of that, doesn't have the last auto from the Vel'Koz land on him, and doesn't have the Ezreal who, commits a lot to go forward, the flash and whatnot, doesn't get him either, is huge. So I actually think they get a lot out of that on the red side that they can take advantage of, but now the Dragon's being started up by blue.
Yeah, Hammy G starting this one up now because they successfully pushed everyone else off. Pancake is in the neighborhood, though, and wants to take the fight as level 6 Cassiopeia to a level 4 for the jungler, AD carry, and support of the enemy team. Actually can threaten a lot there, but doesn't find any kill. Dragon secured. That's the first objective of the game, going over to the side of Hammy G. You'll love to see it if you're a fan of this team, but now top side, Peregrine should be careful here. Has the ultimate available, so can use this to try and go for a 1v1 in this lane. Can he find it onto ALR 42? There we go. It's Nocturne locked in the Death Realm with the Mordekaiser, but you're down 2 levels, and you're just standing in all that Mordekaiser damage. Peregrine takes the gank and turns it around, gets himself a kill. Now can Retugard take him down? He does. Kill secured with the ultimate available, and a 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think Peregrine kind of chickened out there at the end. He had Conquer up. He had a lot of ways to heal himself.
Pancake!
Smyrnus is going to die here.
Pancake with the Conqueror healing can probably face tank all this Vel'Koz damage as well, but instead decides to slither away like the slippery snake he is. Well played by this Cassiopeia.
And you can tell that Smyrnus is just not as comfortable on this champion as you would want him to be. He's kind of overcommitting, not in sync with the team. I don't know if he's used to having CC or his team having CC, but it's definitely something where he is engaging these and then dying, right? It's not he's getting engaged on. He's the one who's really making these try and happen, and it's just not going his way. So it's something that you can retro a lot, because it's something that you're in charge of. So he already has a lot of takeaways from this game. Still in it, only 1,000 gold down. Very, very easy for them to come back here, but it's just something where he's got to stop the bleeding fast.
And Graves is a champion where you can make early play. Okay, Pancake just takes a solo kill against Vel'Koz. That's pretty impressive right there in what I would consider a losing matchup. And actually, we'll get back to my point from earlier much later as ALR42 now finds out Smirnus in the jungle, throws that ultimate down, Paranoia used. That means Graves can't see the Malphite roaming in from behind. And another kill picked up here. Zirene, we're starting to see that gold lead grow and grow.
Yep, the mid lane's dead, means they can go ahead and roam into the jungle if they want. And you can see Smirnus, his flash just came up, so he was definitely trying to hit that. It had like 2-3 seconds left on it, and he goes down. But the roam there was absolutely necessary. If Redugard did not come down, then it's not a dead Graves. Graves lives at that point. So,
but you like to see that kind of heads-up play there. We talked about this earlier on. League of Legends is a team game, so backing up your jungler and actually getting out of your lane and helping out your teammates is an integral part as you move from the beginning stage of the game where you're still learning everything. You're learning what the champions do, what the map looks like, to that mid-stage where you actually get a grasp. You start to focus on these objectives. That's when you start to realize, okay, you don't have to just stay in your lane. You can get out and help elsewhere on the map. Now we see the 2v2 on the bottom side, locked down fully onto I have MH. The Ezreal player can't go anywhere, slowed for days. And another kill picked up now for the Wicked Shades. Can they keep it going, though? A two-man gank on the bottom half, and that's a double kill to Vel'Koz.
And that's exactly what they need. The fact that they knew that Nocturne was on the top side with no ultimate, they knew where ALR was because they saw him. You saw Peregrine, saw that. That's information that he can relay to his team. His team makes a play on the opposite side, knowing that the Nocturne cannot be there, and then it's a good play for them, a numbers advantage. That was 4 people in the bottom lane versus just 2, and they knew they couldn't reinforce it. That was really well done there in terms of roaming, and that gets them a lot of much-needed gold and stops some of that bleeding. They just need to get that tourniquet even tighter, and they need to patch it up. They need to patch up. They need to get those last few kills to stabilize.
As we've been saying, when you get kills, that means you get gold, and that gold you can spend for more items. Having that gold on the Vel'Koz is very important for this team composition, because Vel'Koz will now be able to output so much more damage in these team fights, and was falling behind in the laning phase because Pancake was doing such a good job on this. Cassiopeia had 2 kills to themselves, and then also a CS lead with just farming better in that mid lane, hitting more of those minions than the enemy team does. So that means more and more gold in the Cassiopeia's pocket. And in case you haven't seen Cassiopeia before, she scales very well, so she will be incredibly strong as this game goes on.
And the team that she's up against is just going to be frustrating from like distance perspective, but at the same time, like I've been saying before, she really does feel like she's got the right team around her. The objectives, though, going to be started up by the Poke team now. The Engage is going to need a little bit more work on the red side before they're able to really kind of make team fights happen. It's still the laning phase where the Poke champions will come out on top.
But Hammy G here actually, despite being down in gold, despite being down in kills, they got that first dragon, and now they're claiming that Rift Herald as well. So you're right, Zirene, focusing on the objectives. That is what they're doing right now, and maybe locking down this Ezreal yet again. A gank comes in from the jungler, all 42, tries to dive under turret, and the Sono comes out slightly late. Gets the flash, but that's a secured kill for the side of Wicked Shades.
Yeah, the fact that they get the kill, though, is pretty good. It's on an Ezreal who's usually pretty slippery and hard to kind of get a hold of. And the fact they're able to lock him down and get a kill is massive, because otherwise, if they don't get that now, it's going to be much harder to get in the future.
And now it's Dragon secured here. Oh, that was close. I have MH's Ezreal with the True Shot Barrage ultimate. Almost stole that dragon away, but not to be here as Vel'Koz. Oh, aggressive flash by Pancake. He really wants that kill, but you got to worry about the Disintegration Ray. Flash used by Cave New. And that will save Cassiopeia's life, but still, aggressive play from the Cassiopeia player.
I mean, you like to see it. Cassiopeia scales, but at the same time, I think she's incredibly good at just bullying early on, and she's been making full advantage of that part of her kit. So,
look at the gank on the back half. Malphite walks all the way down, flash ults forward, trying to get the kill here onto Vel'Koz. Will the burn be enough? One more Q should secure it, but he's just not in range. There we go. Right to guard, picking up that one, secured for the team. Pancake almost goes down in the process, but it's a 1-for-0 trade.
They're going to have to get something in return. They're maybe getting a tower plate up top, but I don't think it's going to happen. Peregrine's going to have to back off. No teleport either. And you can see Retugard. You can kind of get the theme here where he's roaming a lot. He's leaving that top lane. We saw earlier a Master Yi that was stuck in top lane. And like I was saying, more advanced players, they leave the lane. See, he's down in CS, but he's up in kills, and his team's up in gold because of that.
And also playing a tank champion rather than something like the Master Yi that needs to get a couple items under his belt before it can do the damage. Malphite is a champion that is pretty simple to execute. You have that big impact ultimate ability. It's up every minute or so at this stage. But when you use that, you throw your entire body forward and you treat yourself like a bowling ball. The enemy team is the pins. You knock them all down. And then you're just a tank. You still provide a decent amount of damage and some slows to prevent the enemy team from, getting away from you. But you're just soaking everything up. At this stage now, 3-0 and 0. This Malphite is very, very far ahead from anyone else on the Rift. And can just continually throw out this ultimate, like you said, joining up with the team and helping carry through, rather than damage, that CC ability in those team fights. So I like what we're seeing out of this Malphite player so far, but there's still chances right now for Hammy G to come back from this game. It's rough where their Graves is right now because really has no control over the jungle, but still some areas of hope based on where the gold is right now with his Vel'Koz in particular.
Yep, and let's see in the top lane, it's going to be an all-out brawl here. There's not much mana left on Retugard. I think he's going to try to take the beating until the Death Realm fades, and then he's going to try to ult away, right?
He flashes, but a flash followed by Peregrine now finds himself with a new challenger that has approached L42. Just auto-attacking, doing everything he can, but look at the Liandry's burn, look at the AP damage! Pancake tries to follow up, turn the fight around, should be able to pick up one. That's a 1-for-2 trade, but Peregrine eating his Wheaties this morning, turns around the 2v1 play.
Yep, able to turn that around, walks him into the jungler. They get 2 for 1. It's definitely worth as well because Smyrnus, he needs some help in that jungle. And that top laner pulling the pressure, also making sure that the Cassiopeia is now in that lane. Vel'Koz gets free farm in that mid lane, gets to push that turret, gets to go ahead and look at the jungle now, and that mid lane is open. The Cassiopeia has been doing super well in this game, highest CS, highest KDA, and he honestly, now with no turret, is going to have a rough time. Despite being in this position, it's going to make it so he's on the back foot in this lane, and they might just try to put somebody else here. They might swap their bot lane to the mid to try and make sure that the Cassiopeia is not alone in that long lane.
And the big issue, the reason why you're less safe without that turret is because that turret is a big deterring factor for the enemy team to not try and make a play on you. If you have a turret to hide underneath, that turret does a lot of damage. So the enemy team's got to do the calculation in their head of like, can we tank that up for long enough to get the kill? Well, if there's no turret there, that's a pretty easy calculation on their end. So you're right. That means Pancake has to play very, very safe here. You either need to push out the wave and then get out of there because you can't really pressure this turret, or you have to go to a different lane and let somebody else come in here. But now the play on the bottom side yet again, the paranoia comes through. I have MH flashes, heals, gets out safely, but has to use both summoner spells for that.
He flashes and heals, but he got all 3 ultimates involved in that situation. They got the Nocturne, the Ashe, and the Leona ultimate. 3 engaged tools used to try and catch this slippery champion. So, like I said, it's just going to get harder to catch him. Now they'll have a window with his flash down, but at the same time, it's one that's a very short window. It's 5 minutes long, and they don't have their ultimates for a decent duration of that. So you're going to have to wait for the right moment and try to engage when you have your ultimates back up.
And already halfway down for the Leona. The support, it makes sense, building a lot of cooldown reduction, plus they already have that Cloud Drake. We were talking about the Elemental Drakes and what they do. What the Cloud Drake does is it gives you 10% cooldown on your ultimate ability specifically. So it should be up shortly, but it might not be up in time for a potential dragon fight, which we're seeing both teams position for, preparing for, and probably will come to fruition here. We'll see if Retugard wants to teleport into this one. The Malphite is not with a team yet, but has a teleport. There we go. It's channeled. I think the Dragon might go down before they can even start the fight. Peregrine trying to be that front line. The Dragon secure, but Retugard jumps right onto the back line. Peregrine trying to threaten the back line himself, but the Cassiopeia ultimate onto 2 members. Pancake ultimately turning that team fight around by himself. Gets a double kill, make it a triple. Can they give Cassiopeia the pentakill? No, Retugard takes the 4th from him, and the Slippery Graves gets away, but the team fight won by the Wicked Shades.
Yep, it's honestly massive for them. They are able to get this turret in the mid lane too with the pressure that they have here. And the fact that that fight went sour for the blue team, it was because of that fact that they don't have engage themselves, right? We talked about how they're a poke composition and that the Mordekaiser walks up. The Cassiopeia just gets to play at max range the entire time. and just gets to skirt around the fight with no threat. So the fact that Pancake is such a big threat in this game is massive. And yep, they get the turret and they back off.
Turret secured, so now it's an even trade of turrets in that mid lane, 1-for-1. Which now, I mean, we just talked about that for Pancake. Now Vel'Koz needs to respect that just as much. But at least the dragon was picked up there for Hammy G. That's their one consolation prize. You lose the team fight, but you secure the objective. You're down in gold, but maybe you can make that push for that fourth dragon. Getting that fourth one gives your team a huge buff. And yet again, it's going to be that mountain soul. So that's that earth bending we were talking about. Gives you more defensive stats and makes you tankier. So even though they won't have that core front line, maybe they can survive slightly longer. But if you're looking, who wants that dragon more, definitely going to be Wicked Shades, because they actually have core tanks that will utilize all those additional stats.
Yeah, it's going to help a lot in that department for kind of durability, but the Cassiopeia is just getting out of hand. You look at her, she's got so many good items already. She's got a Magi's, which gives you stacks based on how many people you kill and get assists, and you lose stacks when you die, so it's a confident buy from him. But it also is one that if they kill him, which this composition will struggle to do, then it's going to be pretty bad. It doesn't end up being gold efficient. So it's really important that the blue team find a way to lock down this Cassiopeia and kill her, because she's durable now with HP and with the shield from her first item in her inventory that she has. But she has so much extra AP, it's a little ridiculous.
And you look at the opposing Vel'Koz, an easy way to tell which team is ahead is you look at their lane matchups and say, who's got more items? And the point Zirene is trying to nail down here is Pancake has essentially an item and a half over his opponent, as Rittigard could be in some trouble, has the ultimate available, so doesn't want to use that to get away, instead takes that blast cone, so gets out of there. But going back to that Cassiopeia point, the more stacks you have in that Magi's, the more damage you do, the higher your AP goes, and right now it is incredibly gold efficient at 10 stacks. It'll get even more gold efficient if we can see that number hit 15 in particular, so keep your eyes down there. We'll see, we'll be tracking how well Pancake does throughout this game, but it's stemming the bleeding right now for Hammy G. They got to figure out how to shut down this Cassiopeia, but more importantly, how to slow the game down and prevent themselves from falling further behind.
Yeah, and I think it's just not taking fights while the Cassiopeia is in a good spot. They have to find the opportunity to really destroy him from a range, and it's going to take time for them to get the items. They need him on Vel'Koz, they need him on Ezreal, and even then, the fact that she scales so well might still be a problem. Let's see, top lane, Rittigard,
I'm looking
in
at
the Death
lane.
Realm.
We see Leona ultimate, we see Ashe ultimate, AL42's here as well, Cassiopeia even roamed down, so we can see a full-on 4v4 down there, but the top laners making sure the camera stays on them, just bopping each other till their health bars bleed. And now, Vel'Koz got out of position here, rotating away from the rest of the team. Does a decent amount of damage to AL42. Ooh. Now the Nocturne needs to be careful, just jumps into his death. You're a squishy assassin. You gotta remember that if your health bar is that low, you gotta respect the Graves damage. So, good pickup by Hammy G right there.
Yep, and it was actually really close. You saw that Pancake, he was close to reinforcing that situation. He ultied, and then he didn't walk any further because the Sona was coming. The Sona is the biggest threat to him on the team. The only person that has any crowd control to lock him down. Everybody else just has ways to kind of poke him and not reliable ways to CC. So Pancake is only really afraid of pocket cookies. That's it, and he's making the right choice here. I can tell just by the way he's playing that he's probably the highest rated player in the game.
And the highest rated player, best performing player for sure, and on the champion that can carry the best. I mean, you look at the Malphite, yeah, 4, 1, and 3, that's great. You're on the tank, you're going to be that front liner, but you need some kind of damage behind your beefiness in order to win the fight ultimately. And Pancake definitely will be providing that. And also, I mean, like you said, you don't want to lose a Mejai stack, so at the end of the day, losing your jungler in that instance is not the end of the world, so might as well just keep those stacks healthy and safe in your pocket. Just like a pocket cookie. Haven't had a lot of chances to make jokes around that. I was hoping that the Sona would be popping off more, but so far we haven't seen a lot of that. But the Dragon is started now by the side of Wicked Shades.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a gamble. Yep. They don't get it, so it's 2-2 in Dragons now. you don't want to fight that. You're not in position as the blue team. And even then, Retugard has teleport. He has ultimate. You're just asking for a bad fight at that point, unless Peregrine can stay on top of him and stop the teleport with the ultimate, because the Mordekaiser ultimate will stop TPs.
And Peregrine has been performing very well so far, but we'll get back to that as again engage onto the Ezreal. That's the 4th time we've seen that happen. 3 out of 4 ain't too bad for a success rate for Wicked Shades.
Yeah, this to me makes it feel like I have a hunch that this team looked at the previous games of the blue team and said they're going to play maybe Vel'Koz and Ezreal. It looks like something that's researched. You don't blind pick this team without knowing you're going up against guys that want to stay away from you. The flash forward, ooh.
Well played by Peregrine, throwing out the Death Realm, stopping Rudigar's Malphite from actually following up on a Zirene, saving his jungler and getting another kill.
Yep, it's such a good play there to try and get something back. You can see 3k gold, mid lane tier 2 turret going down. They get the top one, and now they get to kind of control the top side of the map. And this is where Peregrine gets to at least do something in the game, but his bot lane is really far behind, his mid lane's behind, his jungle's behind. He's the only one who really has any sort of advantage in the lane, and it's not even that much. So they're kind of a little bit weak all over the place. They just got to find the right fight. They got to find a way to get the red team out of sorts, whether it's around an objective, baiting, or finding a different way to open up this game. And that's really the beauty of League of Legends, is the tactics in which you employ to execute your strategy. Your strategy is win, but how are you going to do it? And it's always different depending on the game, right? Yeah, that's what the variance is. Different champions, different players. You're playing a different champion. Even if you have the exact same team compositions as last game, different players are involved. It's such it's what keeps League of Legends fresh. And that's why people can play it for days, because every game is different.
Yeah, this game is constantly evolving, all the new patches coming out, all the new champions, the reworks, everything, keeping it fresh. But one thing remains the same. You said it there, Zirene. Your goal is to win. So how do you get to the enemy nexus? So far, we got 2 turrets to 4. That means that Wicked Shades are closer to their enemy nexus. While that gank happened topside, Pancake keeping his eyes on the prize. The Cassiopeia takes a solo turret in the mid lane. So while we haven't seen a lot of big fights happening or breaking out, there's been slight lulls in the action. We still have seen the map state changing throughout these past couple minutes. And the next big objective will be that Baron.
Yep, they're making sure that the Baron is warded up. This is where you're going to place most of your wards. You're going to be making sure that they aren't clearing them out, and you have something to defend. And this is how a poke composition will actually win, is they have vision control first. You have to walk into them, and they're forcing you to have an engage that you are not 100% sure about.
Yeah, if you don't have your eyes on them, you don't see where they are, you don't know if that Malphite ult into that brush is going to be worth it. It'd be essentially a blind engage. Not always the best thing to go for, but they see Peregrine. Maybe they can go for him. They get the flash out of the Mordekaiser. Ultimate used by Menarine. She can't quite lock down that Mordekaiser because the rest of the team is there, but without flash on that big frontliner here for the side of Hammy G, that means they're going to have to use their poke a little bit more before they commit to a fight.
Yeah, to be honest, he is that person who has the lead, but out of everybody to lose their flash, he's probably the best person on the team. Everyone else really relies on it to get away, and he can just ulti one person, be alone with them, and potentially trade 1-for-1 at worst. So I don't think it's that massive of a deal, but he does have to play safer. So it's not big now, but it might be, right? And that's the thing in League of Legends, is there's always that potential for something to go bad based on something that went, something that you spent early on.
And with the itemization that Menarine has gone for, that ultimate is now back up. So much shorter cooldown than the flash, so they can always look for that play yet again later on. But I just love the difference that we've seen throughout the day, Zirene. Actually, we'll get back to that point as Soda's got out of position. Flash forward aggressively by ALR42. Nets himself a solo kill onto Pocket Cookie's flash. Barrier does not matter. That is a dead Soda.
Yep. And he's down, even though he has the Archangel Staff not completed, still 200 mana away from getting an extra shield, and the Dragon's coming up. So he went for an engage before Dragon was up, which is what you want to do. You want to make sure that it's clear as you do it, not fight as it's up, which gives them a a chance to steal it, right? You want to weaken them before the dragon's even up.
Or to just win the
And
team fight like they're
Peregrine-
doing right now. Look at the Vel'Koz damage.
Ooh.
Absolutely insane over the wall, but Rutagard joins and picks up one. Zirene tried to turn onto the dragon, but his team's just not with them. Now finally Vel'Koz joins in, but they don't have enough damage on Ashe or the Cassiopeia. I don't think that this is a fight
here
that Hammy G can
Ezreal?
win. There's no smite on either side. Who's going to claim it? It's actually the blue team. Vel'Koz over the wall. Oh, what a play. Saved at the end of the day.
That was actually really smooth there. Like, honestly, such a good play there, a good heads-up play to go for the steal. They killed the jungler. The jungler was just too far in the back of the pit. They were overconfident. You could tell that they were way too confident in their ability to take this dragon with the Sona down. That was a 4v5, and they were able to lose, I think it was 2 for 2, and they got the dragon.
That was incredible. I mean, you can always look at the play from the enemy team and say, okay, why didn't Wicked Shades pull the dragon out? You can aggro the dragon, you hit it, and then it'll follow you out a little bit into the river, and then Vel'Koz can't make that play, but well played by the Vel'Koz, realizing, hey, there's 2 people grouped up in there. I just throw my abilities and do all that damage from long range. That is where this champion excels. When nobody's on top of Vel'Koz, you have that range to play with, especially over a wall like that dragon pit. So I think CXD, EFGBV, etc., really knowing this champion, understanding
you put some respect on his name after that.
All right, I'll finish it. CXD, EFGBVV, BCFGDR. There we go. You earned one. You earned one. It's probably a cheat code. that's a cheat code you enter in, and then it lets you hit all your Vel'Koz abilities, because I know I cannot manage to land mine. But Baron started up here by the side of Wicked Shades. We'll see if there's a contestation.
Yeah,
it's a dirty
there's
knockup. Only on to 2, but the flash forward by Pancake. He's trying to get that Cassiopeia damage, but look at the backline. There's a Mordekaiser right on top of you. Finally, one member goes down. It's Zirene. It's traded for the AD carry. Menarine flashing away. Peregrine on the front line with no teammates nearby, but the Soda keeping everybody healthy, everybody healed up, shielded up. It's a 1 fight here by the side of Hammy G. It's a 2-for-1 trade.
That was actually such a good fight there, and honestly a bad start from the red team. ALR, he was half HP at the start. He can't really contribute much. He's going to ulti, and his commitment's going to be kind of, I would say, willy-nilly. He's not going to be able to, wishy-washy. He's going to be, like, not committed to it fully. And as an engaged team, you've got to be committed to that engagement. And Pancake was not completely safe. There's the knockup. There's the, going to kill him.
Taking a lot of damage. Menarine sacrifices his own life, but it doesn't even matter. That's 2 down. Vel'Koz with the Liandry's item adds an extra little burn damage, so even if you get away, it's still ticking you down, and that means 2 more kills to the side of Hammy G. Zirene, this game just got flipped on its head.
Yep, they stopped playing to their win condition. They let the blue team get in, and this Vel'Koz is the heart of the team right now. He's able to pick up crucial kills. As soon as he got his 2 items, he was poking people down, whittling them down, making it so that the engage wasn't going to be as, I would say, as swift, as decisive, and that's where you really hurt the team composition in the execution. So right there, even the Vel'Koz getting the kill on the Cassiopeia weakens her stacks and gives him a massive shutdown. He got 1,000 gold just from killing that one person, and got a lot of stacks off that Magi's.
Sitting on 2,400 gold, this Vel'Koz is going to back and pick up most of a 4th item. We were talking about that lead that Pancake had earlier on. That's pretty much gone at this point in time, and I'm happy you highlighted that Magi stacks, because we hadn't touched on them again, but that little 10 icon on that one book item that you saw before, that was an 18. Once you hit 15, you get a huge burst of extra movement speed on top of the extra ability power that it gives you. So you're doing more damage, you're also sliding around much faster, but now with those stacks gone, that means Pancake needs to get a couple more kills, a couple more assists to farm up those stacks again. And I don't know if they have the heart. A lot of League of Legends, especially at this level, it's not all about strategy. It's not all about execution. A lot of it is about heart. It's about being able to keep your head in the game, not tilt, and not, get overwhelmed with the game state currently. And it seems like Wicked Shades are starting to lose that slightly.
Yeah, they're losing their composure here. Peregrine's been able to, win his matchup in the top lane, and was the one person staying in the game for the team. and that's kind of lifted everybody else up. You can see the mid lane still down 2 levels, doesn't have that rank 3 ultimate, but they're able to at least have a foothold in this game. The 4th dragon is coming up soon. That's what they really want. The poke team is there first, so they're going to have to wait for the other team to come at them, because they can't engage, right? They can just poke down as the other team is coming into them. So you're probably going to see a fight here forced by the engaged team on the red side.
They have the tools to do it, and we've seen them pull it off before. They cannot just give this dragon over for free as well, because that would be Dragon Soul. That's a lot more tanky stats and a big shield on top of all the pokes that they have. But look at this Nocturne. Look at where ALR
he's gonna go. He's gonna go now.
He's over the wall. They're jumping right onto the graves. Can the dragon go down? It's actually secured by Nocturne. 3 dragons to each team, but the team fight is going heavily in favor of the Wicked Shades. They pick up 2 members for 1, and they get the objective.
Really well done there. The Nocturne just needed vision, and they saw, because what was going on there was the formation was perfect. Pancake was on the right side of that fight, hurting, corralling the team to the left. And on the left side, you had Retugard, ready to ulti and knock up the backline. They are so scared of him, they don't want to engage on that. They don't want to do the dragon as a full team and group up for the Malphite. So blue team was spreading out, and they left Graves alone on the dragon. The ultimate from Nocturne was able to be executed because somebody hit the Scryer's Bloom and was able to see the Graves, and then he's able to see the HP of the dragon too. So that was really well done there by the red team. That's exactly what they needed. And ALR, he's been going back and forth. It has been punch for punch. There's one more dragon left, and it will decide whoever gets the soul. It is dead even in gold, 55.1k a piece.
And that smite was a thing of beauty from ALR 42 as well. When you're in that high pressure situation, the jungler has that one ability, that smite summoner spell that drops down onto that big dragon and does a large chunk of true damage. That means if it says 1,000 on that ability, it'll do a full 1,000. I believe at this level it's more around 800, but still hitting that before the enemy jungler can. That is a difficult thing to do. It requires a lot of skill and a lot of patience, because oftentimes you'll see junglers throw it out too early, but ALR 42 holding it to the perfect moment, getting that dragon. So now it's 3-3, keeping his team in this game, because for a bit there, it felt like things were slipping out of control.
Yeah, I want to say it's like 720-ish at this level, and like, you're right, it's around 800. So it's a burst, but you got to burst it with other abilities simultaneously. Now the teams are going to play around the Baron, and while you play around the Baron, it's the ticking timer on the rest of the map of that dragon's coming up. Both teams want that soul. It's going to help the blue team like survive and engage, but it's also going to help the red team, if they get the soul, to survive engaging. So both teams desperately want it. Malphite's on the bottom side with teleport. This is where you want to engage as the blue team, and they might be looking for something here.
Yeah, I think they could take it. A flash early from Cave New. Pancake is here, full level 18 Cassiopeia, ready to duke it out. Almost full build right now. But the push on the bottom half, Rudigard has teleport, so this Malphite, this big tanky frontline engaged champion, can join in on the fight with that ability.
He's making them start it, and then they're going to have him TP in on that ward that's to the left, and then he's going to come in. There's a ward to the left side by the Sona. There it is. Oh, he's going to go to the right.
He actually TPs into the Baron Pit instead, and the jungler's already dead. Peregrine now in onto the support. There's the backline access from Rudigard, but can anyone follow it up? Pancake tries his absolute darndest, flashing forward, healing forward, trying to heal up, sustain through all this damage here as a Cassiopeia, but it's just not going to be enough. And Hammy G decimate the team fight, and they will claim the Baron.
That was just something they had to go for broke. They honestly had to go for broke there. It was just such a dire situation. The only thing left now is if he can hit it with an Ashe ultimate and have the splash damage, get it. We'll see here. He's going to try for this desperate situation.
He's trying.
There it is.
He's setting it up. It's got to go now.
Yep. Late, but it wouldn't have been a chance anyway.
Yeah.
He got it at the right HP, so that was massive. The blue team has been struggling all game long, and now the Baron going over to them off that beautiful fight. It really was Pancake trying to get the backline with the flash, but I think Retugard TPing on the right side, not exactly the best play. I think he should TP'd on the left side there and kind of flanked, and they used the Nocturne ultimate not to engage, but to cover the TP. I think it's a better use there. You don't want to jump in as ALR right away. You want to ulti, cover the TP because they can't see where it's coming from if you do that. The Malphite's in, you'll ulti, and then you can go ahead and follow from there and play it slow. Don't need to be as desperate for the backline as they were there.
Exactly. The Nocturne is not the primary engage tool. The Nocturne allows for an easier engage for Malphite, which is that primary engage tool, and then is great follow-up. You know, as soon as that Vel'Koz is knocked up in the air by the Malphite, then you click on them and you dash onto that backline, provide that damage. So ALR 42, again, showing those nerves right now. They're falling behind, and plays like that will only keep you behind. But look at that damage coming in from Pancake onto Peregrine. This Mordekaiser walking forward. And yeah, you're in the death realm, but I don't know who's trapped in with who. Now ALR 42 jumps onto the Soda. It's the support that will fall down. Now it's the carries on full retreat. The Arrow lands from Cave New. They're locking down I have MH, and they will claim the Ezreal flash forward by L42. The Malphite ultimate comes in as well. They're locking down Brave. The jungler's dead. The damage from Vel'Koz is huge. Absolute decimation from the mid laner. They don't get the they do. They get the dragon too! Are you kidding me? I'll say it again. CXDEFGBBBBCFGD. Madman?
That was insane. The fact that he's able to play from that situation perfectly. The flash on the Malphite ultimate, the turnaround with his own ultimate, melting 3, almost 4 people by himself, and then getting the dragon on top of it. That was not a cherry on top. He just had a second Sunday. He gets another serving.
That deserves, if this player doesn't get 4 honors at the end of this game, I don't know how much more you can ask. It was Peregrine keeping them in the game in the early stages, holding out in that top lane. But ever since the 20-minute mark, it has been this Vel'Koz player keeping this team in these team fights consistently. As the Rabadon's death cap completed, has hit a huge power spike, and is now going to back and probably hit full build here with 1,800 to spend. Most likely going to be a Morella Nomicon to help prevent a lot of that healing. No, it's actually Void Staff, so this means that he wants to just cut through the tankiness of the Malphite instead. Oh, talk about a heartbreak here for Wicked Shades. They were so close.
Yeah, their composition is really good for it too, but they just ended up playing into their enemies like a few too many times. And that was another one where I gotta say, like, it's really, it is a lot of luck here. The fact that he's been able to just get multiple dragons, 2 dragons. This should have been a soul like 10 minutes ago in favor of the red team. They would have been an Elder Dragon right now. But it's just incredible play from this Vel'Koz.
Crazy thing is, Wicked Shades are still not out of this game, because while the Dragon Soul was secured, I would say this is more of a denial soul than a pickup. I mean, yes, the shield is great. Yes, that extra tankiness on their frontliner in the Mordekaiser is great, but it's just a relief that they don't have to deal with all that extra tankiness on the Malphite. So now, can they get out Pancake? The has appeal way too far forward. Ooh. Playing so well throughout the whole game, and then right at the end, they're getting picked off. Now this means it's a 5v4 and a full push committal from Hammy G.
Yep, I don't know how they're going to be able to stop this. As an engaged team, you want to engage, but they don't have the damage to back them up anymore. This is going to be one of those just kind of lick your wounds, make sure you lose the minimum. Like, just accept that you're going to lose something. You're going to lose something. You might lose a lot, just try not to lose everything.
You lose that middle inhibitor, do not let the game fall after, but they might not have a choice. That's still 25 seconds on Pancake. This is a full 5v4 under Nexus turrets. Ridegard taking a lot of damage. You're going to have to commit with that ultimate. No, he actually flashes away. There's a Paranoia. ALR 42 trying to find some members, somebody squishy enough to take out, but with the Sona shields, the group healing, and Vel'Koz range, baby. Another double kill comes through to this impeccable Vel'Koz player. The Nexus turrets fall. Zirene, that was a long one and a banger for sure. But Hammy G, whatever you want to call their team name, they just came out on top and are 3-0.
That was honestly ridiculous. What the best game so far today, back and forth, and the fact that they stole so much and they started from such a deficit. This was a guy who was having his jungler killed in lane, ends the game down in CS, still to this Cassiopeia, but the range play from him, the safety at which he played, and the fact that he was always the one in the end of the fight to just clean it all up. And then he was able not to just clean it all up, the guy polished the damn floors too. He made sure everything was squeaky clean when his team
He
was
did the
out and waiting for them to come
dishes.
back in.
He did the dishes. He mopped the floor. He wiped the tables. He did everything that team needed. And if you look at the damage charts, I'm looking at them right now. If you want to compare Cassiopeia, we were talking up this Cassiopeia player the whole time. Pancake thinking, okay, this Cassiopeia is popping off, carrying the team, right? 30k damage, very respectable in a 43-minute game. Vel'Koz had 49,000. That's close to double the damage of his lane opponent, despite being put at such a deficit early on. What a turnaround from this team. You're right, Zirene. That was definitely the best game that we've casted so far today. I'm going to need a breather and to drink a few glasses of water, maybe a cup of tea after that last one. So we're going to send it over to a short break. But I want to let everybody know, because we actually already know the matchup that will be coming up after this. The winner here, Hammy G, will be playing up against Stockholm Scuttle Stompers. We haven't had a chance to see them play, but I assume that they're also another undefeated team now. So we're just keeping with the undefeated teams. 3-0 against 3-0. So that'll be a fun one to watch again as we just get closer and closer to the finals. We'll see who the best teams are at this tournament. We're going to send it over to that short break right now, but we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere.